Hey guys, what's going on? It's Avdarvin here, and welcome to a brand new video. It has been about 3 years since I've uploaded a video, with that last video being Lavas plus Poker, which was just a video of me crafting lava runes and playing playing what looks like to be 5 tables of poker on the side. And that has pretty much been how I've left things with RuneScape. I haven't really been playing much at all for the past 3 or so years. And I haven't uploaded a video since I've stopped playing, so I figured this would be a good time. End of 2021. It was a really good year, and I figured I would make a kind of an update video of what I've been up to since quitting RS. So it really all started when I was in college about a few years ago, which I was going to a 4-year school, which was my first experience kind of away from home, like staying at a college dorm. Because up until then I was just going to community college, and I was pretty much hated college up until this point, and went over to the 4-year school and had high hopes. I was really thinking it was going to be a huge change, was going to make a whole lot of friends, and was just going to have an overall really good time in my classes and just like with the whole college experience. But it really didn't turn out that way. Didn't enjoy the school at all. Didn't enjoy the extracurriculars really. Didn't really make any new friends, and it was just really disappointing, to be honest. Like, it was a huge letdown because that was something I had been looking forward to for, honestly, like probably close to a year at that point, because I was just like I had been sick of school for a while, right? Like high school I was arguably sick of school, but college, I didn't really enjoy it at really any point. I really never got the chance to take any super interesting classes, or really just classes that interest me in general, that were beyond anything beyond super basic stuff. You really never got to get to any of that stuff, unfortunately. And for those wondering what I was majoring in, I was originally majoring in accounting, and then I ended up switching over to finance because I wanted to be a personal financial planner. And that's still something I might want to do someday. It's definitely not set in stone that I'm never gonna do that, because that is something I am pretty passionate about still, so we'll see. So basically, after being at the school for a few months, I realized that it wasn't at all what I had hoped and expected it to be, and I kind of lost hope for a bit in terms of like school. It was just like, all right, this is what I was waiting for, and this is a big, massive disappointment. What do I do now? And it was like I had about another 2 years of school, because it should have been even less than that, but my advisors had completely messed up my scheduling. So I had basically, no matter what, I was going to have to take at least an extra like half year to a full year of school than I was planning originally, because the advisors just suck at their jobs. So that was like another thing that was just like on top of everything else, just like another thing that was just like kind of putting me down. So yeah, I turned to poker basically. I had been playing poker for about a year at this point, and had kind of realized that there was a lot of potential in the industry. Like, I really did believe that if I had worked super hard for a few years, I could potentially be making 6 figures a year. And that was kind of the vision, right? That's what I wanted, is like work hard for a few years. I could walk out making more money than I would if I had just continued going to school and gotten a regular job, right? That was the idea. It's like, okay, if I can do that, everything will be okay. And I pretty much applied the RuneScape mindset to it, of where it was like, when I started with RuneScape, I didn't think I'd make anything of my account. I was just another Joe Schmo making an account, but eventually turned that into a top page account on the game, which was like something I never thought I would be capable of doing. So like just seeing that that's possible on the game, like it definitely made me realize that you're capable than a lot more than you think you are. And I didn't want to live the rest of my life kind of not knowing of what would have happened if I'd given poker a real shot, So around that time at school, that's when I kind of decided. Well, I remember there was one specific day that I just decided, you know what? I'm putting RuneScape on the back burner. And up until that point, I had like been trying to study poker and take poker seriously, but I was also like still obsessed with RS. So what was happening is I was just like trying to do shit like efficient stuff in the game RS, and then whenever I was doing something that was like slightly more AFK, I would, study poker in the meantime. So yeah, it was a huge change in focus at that point to just really focusing on poker and just saying, all right, we're gonna AFK as much as we want in RS, and I was still playing RS. It wasn't like I just quit, but it was just like AFKing everything and whatnot. So basically, that was what I spent most of my time doing. So at this time, I wasn't working a job because I just moved away from home, which is where my job I was working was at. So I quit that job, and I had no job currently. So I had some free time, and I was just basically putting that free time towards studying poker, playing poker, and then RuneScape with whatever extra time I had after that. So that was pretty much what I was doing throughout that semester at school. And then the next semester, I just went home. I didn't go back to that school because I realized I had more classes I could complete at my local community college. So I went back home and was completing, I think I was doing like 2 classes for a semester, which is like basically nothing. And that was when I put a lot of time into poker over that semester, because at that point it was like, all right, we have less and less obligations. We can put more and more time towards stuff I actually want to, work towards. So I was doing that for all of that semester, and then I remember I had a summer break at one point, and it was basically it was like 3 or 4 months where I had nothing to do but poker. Basically, that I had no job, was just focused on poker at this point. And that was the summer where I really kind of got hooked on the game, because I was playing it pretty much nonstop for 3 or 4 months. I had been making quite a bit of progress, and when it came time to come back to school, I just remember it was the most dreadful feeling ever, because it was just like I just could not put in the effort. It was just like I am so focused on what I have right now. It's like why would I be wasting more of my time on something I don't even care about to begin with, right? But at this point, it was more of a means of kind of like slowly dropping out of school without like actually like doing it all of a sudden, like, I don't know, that's kind of the best way I can describe it. I was like slowly gravitating towards away from school. So after that semester back in my community college, that was my last semester at school, because at that point I was getting close to actually failing my classes. And I knew that if I had taken one more semester of classes, I think there's no doubt that I would have like at least failed some of them, because I was not putting in any effort into school at this point. Yeah, it was literally like do the absolute bare minimum. I would show up to class and I would be like looking at poker hands on my phone. It was just like I did not care about school. It was literally like poker's my priority. I'm literally just going to school to make my parents happy. That was literally all it was at this point. And then after that semester, I finally had the guts to kind of to tell my dad that I was going to be dropping out at that point. And I just wanted to give poker a shot. I really thought that I was at the point. I wasn't making a lot of money yet. Don't get me wrong. I was not making enough money to be making a living off of. But I thought that I was close enough to like kind of like like I've made a lot of progress is what I'm trying to say here. Over the past, like, at this point I've been maybe playing for about 2 years actually. Yeah, so about 2 years I've been playing for at this point. So I had about 2 years of experience under my belt. Was playing, I guess, like small to mid stakes. I think at this point, probably closer to like mid stakes. Was probably playing games that were around like around like a $500 buy-in or so. A two to $500 buy-in I was playing at this point, I think. And it wasn't like exactly where I wanted to be in terms of like playing professionally, but I was still living at home. I didn't really look at it like I was taking on a huge risk, right? Because a lot of people kind of saw poker as like this huge risk, like you're risking so much to play poker. But it's like I really didn't see it that way, because the way I saw it was I wasn't happy in life, and if I take this chance, it either works out, in which case I'm extremely happy, or it doesn't work out, which I will literally just be back to where I started. So to me, it wasn't even a risk. It was like I was basically free rolling, me putting in enough effort and actually having things go my way, or I was going to end up exactly where I was, and we were going to learn. Like, don't get me wrong, you learn a lot from failure. So, like, even after failing, like, you're going to still come out, like, a better person, even if you were to fail. So it's like, in my opinion, it's just like, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, I don't know. I wasn't really worried about failing. It was almost like what I was currently doing was failing. You know, like, it wasn't working, and I wanted to change. So, to me, it was kind of a no-brainer as to what to do. It's just a matter of convincing my parents, you know, that it's the best thing for me, right? Which is not an easy thing to do. So, at this point, I had been playing poker for about 2 years. I'd quit RS for probably around a year and a half. Well, when I say quit, sorry, I don't mean quit. I mean put it on the back burner, right? I was mainly doing like probably Redwoods at the time. Like that was what most of my time was doing. I was doing farm runs and whatnot, but like I really wasn't playing the game super actively at this point. And actually, when I made that transition to playing for a living, I at some point early on, I did kind of, you know, just stop playing because what I would do is I would play poker and I would AFK like Redwoods on the side, or I'd AFK something else, depending on, you know, how many tables I was playing. But like eventually it just kind of got to the point where it was like, you know what, I'm not going to continue doing this. I just need to be focused 100% on playing poker and not anything else. Because as you play higher and higher stakes, it becomes more and more important for you to, you know, make higher quality plays and not make mistakes. So that was something I changed. And yeah, so ever since dropping out of school, the first year playing professionally, which was 2020, was the first year I played full-time. It went acceptable. I'll put it that way. All in all, the year went acceptable. The amount of money I made was enough to like make a living on. It wasn't great money, but it was enough to make a living on. But I wasn't happy with my results because last year I would say I got pretty unlucky. And usually over the course of a year, you're not going to get super unlucky or super lucky playing cash games. Usually over the course of a year, you know, your luck will average out to be about, you know, what everybody else's luck is going to be, right? But what was happening throughout this year is I was moving up in stakes a bunch. And yeah, so I started that year probably playing around 200 and L and stuff. And then by the end of it, I was shot taking 5K, sorry, not 5K, 1K and L, which was like $1,000 buying game. And I ran really bad at that game. And I ran really, really bad at that game. And basically, it felt like no matter what I could do, like, you know, like it was, like I was just running bad at high stakes. So there was like, you know, you'd play lower stakes games and you would win some back, but it was never enough because it was like you lost a bunch of money at high stakes, so it doesn't matter if you won some back here at the lower stakes. And that was kind of how most of the year went. It was just kind of constant, what felt like being a failure, honestly. It really did feel like throughout that first year at playing professionally, just every day I would wake up knowing I am not on pace to achieve my goal. Because my original goal for the first year was to make 100K. That was the original goal. And I had like a terrible mindset when I started playing. And one thing I remember saying was that if I didn't make 100K in my first year playing poker, I was going to quit. I was going to go back to school. That's what I told my dad. And I didn't make 100K. But I will tell you, I definitely improved a lot over that year. And I was like, you know, like there is no way in hell I'm giving up on this just because I didn't hit some like kind of, you know, I don't want to necessarily say it was a crazy goal because I do think it's achievable. I do think that goal was achievable. It was just like there were a lot of factors at play that kind of prevented me from doing it. Part of it was my own fault. Part of it was kind of just out of my hands. But yeah, I wasn't going to give up. I decided, you know what, that's a terrible mentality to just give up if you don't hit your goal in the first year. Like, you know, I was going to keep going. And I'm really glad I did because 2021 was the year where we really kind of popped off. Yeah, things changed around quite a bit, like early on in the year. So up until this point, I was doing a $100,000 challenge. And I had started that $100,000 challenge all the way from $25. So what happened was a while ago, when I first started playing poker, I deposited $25 into my account. And eventually what happened is I ran that up to $100,000 over the course of, how long even was it? Like, I want to say it was like 3 or so years. Yeah, because we've been playing poker for 2 years at that point, kind of part-time, and then 1 year full-time at that point. So yeah, it was about 3 years it took me to turn $25 into $100,000, knowing literally nothing at the beginning. I knew nothing about poker at the start, and I learned everything, and I put in the repetitions in the games to earn that money. And yeah, it was a great feeling because that was something I've been working towards literally ever since the start. And I had been posting updates on my Twitter of like first $1,000 I made, first 10,000, and then first 100,000. And it's been going well. It's been going really well. That was like really my breakthrough. Was like I believe it was like February and March of 2021, where I made a ton of money during those months. And those months pretty much just carried me out throughout the rest of the year. I'm not saying like nothing's happened for the rest of the year, but those months, like those 2 months alone, probably made up, somewhere around 80% of the total money I made for the whole year. So, and then since then so that was the $1,000 games I was struggling with. And after once I started making quite a bit of money in March and April, I think it was March and April, not February and March. March and April, I think is what the months were. And I started shot taking some 2K&O, which is the $2,000 buying games, 10-20 blinds. And after that, we have recently actually started shot taking the $5,000 buying games, which is the highest stakes you can play in the U.S. on like public sites. So that was something that was kind of crazy, because that is something I've been working towards ever since I started playing. Like I've literally made it from the lowest stakes you can possibly play in the U.S. to starting to play the highest stakes in the U.S. in under 4 years. I'm not going to say it's never been done before, but that is a very rare thing to say. Like there are not very many people that have been able to do that. So it's pretty crazy. And yeah, that kind of brings us back to today. So, like, what are we up to today? So we're wrapping up the year here. Got about 2 weeks left of 2021. And I'm actually done playing poker for the year. Recently hit my goal. And I actually decided to keep on playing after I hit my goal. Lost some back. And then ended up making most of that back. So we're at about where my goal was. So I'm just calling it quits right now for the year. And just going to spend the next 2 weeks relaxing and also studying a bit of poker, kind of improving my game a bit, just kind of getting myself ready for 2022, where I plan on playing playing again, come the new year. And also, the game plan for next year was going to involve purchasing a house, which I'm not totally sure if I'm going to be going through with that next year, or I actually might be waiting potentially 1 more year to do that. So that's something I still have to decide on as to whether I want to buy a house next year or the year after that. But long term, I am planning on definitely getting into real estate. That's something I've had in my head since probably 18 years old, which I'm 23 now, so like 5 years. I've been planning on kind of getting into real estate and how I wanted to do it. And basically the idea is for my first house, I'm going to buy a duplex. And then I'm going to rent out half of it and then live in the other half. And then hopefully the rent from that one person would cover the majority of the mortgage. So it will save you a lot of money on your mortgage. And then eventually just kind of continue buying other duplexes or other houses and renting those out. And eventually just kind of build up a nice portfolio of properties that can produce income and basically not ever have to worry about money after I get to a certain point. So that's kind of the long-term plan. I'm not sure when that plan will get started, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure. And definitely have some other ideas of things I want to do in the future as well that I'm not really going to get into in this video. But yeah, if there's any questions you guys have about this, if you want to message me, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. But I think that's about it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have been doing well over the past few years. Wish nothing but the best for everybody else in the RuneScape community. And yeah, peace out, guys. And I'll see you next time I upload, whenever that may be.